Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. It's another scorching summer day, the kind that paints everything in hues of vibrant gold and deep blue. My wife, Anna, has been more passionate about tennis recently, spending most mornings at the local club. She claims it's the competition she loves, the rush of adrenaline, the slice of the racket cutting through the still air. I've been supportive, encouraging even, proud of her drive. We often played doubles on the weekends, a routine that bound our weekends with laughter and light-hearted competition. But things had shifted subtly, the balance of her time leaning heavily towards the courts without me. Lately, Anna's new coach, Tom, had become her regular partner. He was a former college player, young, with a vigorous charm and a persuasive smile that seemed to linger in her conversations at dinner. Tom says I'm improving. He really pushes me to my limits, she would say, her eyes flickering with a spark I hadn't seen in a while. I started to feel a twinge of something. Was it jealousy? Mistrust? I brushed those thoughts aside as unwarranted, reminding myself of the trust we had built over our 10 years together. However, the nagging feeling didn't dissipate, it grew, fueled by her increasing hours at practice and whispered phone calls I wasn't meant to hear. On a particularly restless Thursday, I decided to visit the club unannounced. Maybe seeing her in action, the sweat and concentration, would quell the unease twisting in my gut. I parked my car a little further away and walked towards the secluded part of the club where the private lessons were held. The thud of tennis balls was rhythmic, a calming heartbeat as I approached the court. What I saw next was anything but calming. There was laughter, not the kind shared between coach and athlete after a grueling session, but something more intimate. Tom's hand was not instructing but instead, wandering under Anna's skirt as she leaned back against the net, her face lit up with a blush that I recognized from our early days. They seemed in a world of their own, his whisper coaxing a giggle out of her that sliced through me sharper than any racket ever could. The scene before me blurred, rage and shock warring within. I managed to stay hidden, the shadows my cloak, as I turned on my heel and left, the image seared into my memory. The drive home was a montage of our life together, snippets of trust and love overshadowed by the betrayal I had just witnessed. My mind raced, how long, how deep, how much of us was a lie? By the time I reached home, a plan had begun to form, dark and vengeful. If she had chosen to cast me aside for stolen moments with him, then I would ensure those moments cost her everything she held dear. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the night seemed to agree with my thoughts, dark and endless. I sat in the dim light of our living room, the silence thick, waiting for her to return from her extra practice. Tonight, the charade would end, and the unraveling of her deceit would begin. The lock clicked, and she entered, humming a tune, the ghost of her laughter with Tom still on her lips. My heart hardened, the stage was set. Anna, I began, my voice a calm I didn't feel, we need to talk. Anna drops her tennis bag by the door with a clatter that echoes slightly in the empty hallway. Her cheerful humming fades as she notices the stern expression on my face and the unusual stillness of the room. She pauses, her instincts alerting her to the shift in atmosphere. Is everything okay, Michael? Her voice carries a tremor of concern as she approaches, her forehead creased in confusion. I take a deep breath, my hands clenched at my sides. The image of Tom's hand creeping under her skirt burns behind my eyes. We need to talk about your tennis sessions, I say, my voice steady but cold. Anna's eyes widen slightly, a flicker of something, guilt, perhaps, crosses her features before she masks it with confusion. My tennis sessions. What about them? Tom says I've been making great progress. I can't help but sneer at the mention of his name. I saw you, Anna. Today, at the club. With Tom. The words taste bitter as they leave my lips. Her face drains of color, her lips parting slightly as if she's struggling for air. You were there. She stammers, her composure beginning to crack. Yes, I saw everything. I step closer, my gaze fixed on her. How long has this been going on? Anna backs away slightly, her hand fluttering to her neck. Michael, it's not what you think. It was just a moment of foolishness. A moment. My voice rises despite my attempt to control it. It looked like much more than a moment, Anna. She shakes her head, tears brimming in her eyes. It was a mistake. I'm so sorry, Michael. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. It was just some harmless flirting that went too far. Harmless? I scoff, the pain turning into anger. And how many harmless moments were there before I caught you? Anna collapses onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands. Just a few, she whispers, her voice muffled. It was all just fun and games. It didn't mean anything. Fun and games. The phrase ignites a fury within me, a cold and calculating anger. You made a fool out of me, Anna. You betrayed our marriage for fun and games with a boy who could be our son. She looks up at me, her face streaked with tears. Please, Michael, I love you. It was a terrible mistake. We can get past this, can't we? I love you more than anything. The room feels colder, the space between us wider than ever. I stare at her, the woman I loved, seeing her now as a stranger. I don't know if I can ever trust you again, I say, the words slicing through the tense air. I need some time to think. As I turn to leave the room, Anna's sobbing fills the space, a haunting soundtrack to the crumbling facade of our marriage. But inside me, a plan is forming, a way to make her feel the depth of the betrayal she so carelessly embraced. This isn't over. It's just beginning. The following morning dawns clear and bright, mocking the storm that rages in my heart. I wake up early, restless after a night spent tossing and turning, the image of Anna's betrayal replaying in my mind like a broken record. As I sit at the kitchen table sipping my coffee, the silence of the house weighs on me. Anna is still asleep, or at least pretending to be. I know what I need to do next. I grab my phone and dial the number of Anna's best friend, Rachel. If anyone would know the extent of Anna's betrayal, it would be her. Michael? Rachel's voice is cautious, tinged with surprise. Is everything okay? No, everything is not okay, I reply, my voice tight with barely controlled anger. I need to know how long this has been going on with Tom. Rachel hesitates, a pause that tells me more than her words ever could. I think you should talk to Anna about this. I did. Now I'm talking to you. Rachel, you owe me the truth. There's a heavy sigh on the other end of the line. It's been a few months, she confesses. But Michael, she regretted it the moment things got out of hand. She loves you. A few months. My grip tightens around the phone. Anger courses through me, but I manage to keep my voice even. Thanks, Rachel. That's all I needed to know. As I hang up, the plan in my mind begins to crystallize. Anna's life, her reputation, everything she holds dear, I will turn it all to ashes. First, I call the local newspaper. As a well-known figure in our community due to my business ventures, I have contacts there who owe me a few favors. Hi, Greg, I greet the editor, whom I've known for years. I have a tip for you. Off the record for now, but it's about a high-profile affair involving a coach at the country club. Greg's interest is piqued immediately. I'm listening. I outline the details, ensuring Tom's name is front and center. By the time I'm done, the wheels are in motion. This story will explode across our small town by the evening. Next, I turn my attention to Tom. A few discreet calls to some influential friends ensure that his budding coaching career will suffer a setback he won't recover from anytime soon. By mid-morning, I'm standing in front of the tennis club, watching as Anna arrives for her session. She freezes when she sees me. "Michael, what are you doing here?" Her voice trembles slightly, the confusion apparent in her eyes. "Just making sure you understand the consequences of your actions," I say calmly, my gaze locking with hers. Anna looks around, noticing a few people whispering and staring in our direction. Panic rises in her eyes as she grasps the unfolding situation. "Michael, please, we can fix this," she pleads, stepping towards me. "I think you've done enough fixing for both of us," I reply coldly. She reaches out, but I step back, creating a chasm she can't physically or emotionally bridge. As I turn and walk away, the first calls begin to come through on her phone. I don't look back, but I can hear the desperation in her voice, calling after me. The seeds of retribution are sown, growing rapidly in the fertile ground of betrayal. As I drive away, I feel a hollow victory. The game, it seems, has just begun. The fallout from my revelation spreads like wildfire through our small community. The local newspaper runs a front-page story on the scandal, detailing the illicit affair between a beloved coach and a respected community member's wife. It paints a vivid picture of betrayal and deception, fueled by my careful orchestration. As the scandal unfolds, I watch from the sidelines, a spectator to the destruction of the life Anna once cherished. Within days, Tom is ousted from the club, his reputation in tatters. Members whisper about the scandal, shaking their heads in disapproval. Anna becomes a pariah, her friends withdrawing their support one by one. The isolation engulfs her, visible in her hunched shoulders and averted gaze whenever she dares to venture out. Yet, even as I witness her downfall, a gnawing emptiness begins to take root within me. The taste of revenge is ash on my tongue, bitter and unfulfilling. But there is no turning back. One evening, as the sun sets, casting long shadows over the town, I arrange to meet Anna at the park where we once celebrated our 10th anniversary. The symbolism of the location is not lost on me, a place of past happiness to end it all. Anna arrives, a shell of the vibrant woman she once was. Her eyes, once bright with mischief and joy, are now dull with grief. "Michael, why here?" Her voice is barely a whisper, tinged with sorrow. "To remind you of what you destroyed," I reply, my voice devoid of warmth. She flinches as if struck, her lips trembling. "I'm so sorry, Michael. I never wanted to hurt you. I was foolish, and I've lost everything. I've paid the price. Haven't I paid enough?" "No," I say coldly. "Not yet." I watch her struggle to comprehend the depth of my hatred. "What more do you want from me?" she pleads. "Nothing," I confess. "There's nothing you can give that I want anymore. But I needed you to understand the full extent of what you threw away." Anna sinks to the ground, her body racked with sobs. The sight should bring me satisfaction, but instead, there's a hollow ache in my chest. I turn to leave, the finality of the moment weighing heavily on me. As I walk away, I hear a soft, despairing whisper, "I loved you, Michael. I still do." Her words float to me, carried by the gentle evening breeze, but they no longer have the power to sway me. The love I once bore her is gone, replaced by a relentless, all-consuming desire to see her suffer as I have suffered. Days turn into weeks. The town slowly moves on from the scandal, but the scars remain. One tragic morning, the news arrives: Anna, overwhelmed by her downfall and isolation, took her own life. The news hits me unexpectedly, a brutal blow to the facade I've carefully built. In that moment, the victory I sought tastes more of defeat. I realize the revenge I thought would bring peace has only multiplied the pain, leaving a void filled with remorse and unspoken apologies. My actions, driven by hurt and betrayal, have led to an irreversible tragedy. We part forever, not through physical distance but through the finality of death. The hatred of betrayal consumes us both, leaving behind nothing but ashes of what could have been a life rebuilt on forgiveness and understanding. I am left to wander the ruins of my own making, a victor in a game where both players have lost everything.